All right, we're rolling.
Congrats on that championship, man. Congrats on that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome
Dominating.
everyone to the final podcast for the AGFFA report of the 2020 season. As you just heard, Dan is congratulating Gumby because Gumby is our 2020 champion, Super Duper Bowl 15. Congrats, Gumby.
Thanks.
That was, I would say it was a blowout when it was all said and done. I thought I was close, but Tyler Boyd getting injured, that sucked. So
yeah, that was bad.
That was rough.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't just Boyd too. Like Cam Akers flopped, Mike Davis flopped. I guess you could say the same thing on your side for Aaron Rodgers and a couple others.
I was nervous because that was Saturday where he got that 28 points or whatever it was, and I was thinking, well, crap.
I expected more from Mahomes. I thought that'd be more of a shootout, but
I think he still got me like 50
he still got
points,
yeah.
If you know what's funny about that, Gus, if you look at our matchup earlier in the season during the regular season, Aaron Rodgers got 19 points in that one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the times I went up against you, your quarterback shit the bed in a way. So,
but the rest of the team came through and everybody hit.
Yeah, I mean, because we talked about this earlier. Calvin Ridley, he was great. He hurt me because I have him on another team, but I was already winning that game.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley.
Stephon Diggs. Yeah, Diggs did great on Saturday. Dalvin Cook, of course, he was going to do what he always does. And then freaking Antonio Brown, he had that huge touchdown in like the third or fourth quarter when he was basically doing nothing all game.
That was the first time this season he's really gone off in what you would expect from an Antonio Brown kind of way.
Right. I think that was a 50-yard touchdown that he got. It was a ball.
It was long.
So 11 points take that away, or, it's just a little bit different. And I don't know. It could have been a different game, but whatever. Congrats.
Thanks.
So,
is that number 2 or 3?
That's second one.
Second one? Okay. Cool.
We have a lot of 2-time winners now.
I told y'all at the beginning of the season that nobody else had ever drafted on Zoom as much as I had. I told y'all that.
Yeah.
Y'all remember I said that? I said I got more experience drafting this way than all y'all combined.
That's true.
That was but yeah, good game, and congrats to Mike as well on third place. That was actually an interesting game. I thought Savages might have run away with that because Josh Allen had such a good start for Saturday. I think it was 60 points.
Yeah.
They had a lot.
Yeah. And then
Mike's team's just super stacked.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, but Murray came out. He had a good game, didn't he? Murray had 40, 50 points, something shit like that.
Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Oh,
60.
yeah.
He had like 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he ended up matching Josh Allen, and of course he had Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. I think, Adams didn't do as well, but Jones did all right.
Yeah, Aaron Jones had a big game.
He had like 140 yards, I think.
Yeah.
He had a lot. It was a very, very lots of scores for Mike because that team is stacked. He still has, even if you count all that, he still beat me in total points for all year.
I do have
like significantly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it here. Savages put up 144. That's a good game. That could probably win you more often than not. But yeah.
Hey, what was your score in the final? What was your score in the Super Duper Bowl, Gus?
144.5.
Hey, look at that. That means that something that almost never happened. You beat the second place team in your conference, and I beat the second place team in my conference. When's the last time that happened?
Yeah.
The Super Duper Bowl teams almost never outscored their previous opponents.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. God damn it. I mean, I'm looking at Boyd in that 0. It just sucks, man. And of course, Cam Akers, he was supposed to go off for 20 last week. Or, it was the fucking Jets.
They won that game. The
Jets. Yeah, right. That Jets, honestly, I was like, okay, this is the biggest surprise all week. Jets winning, blah, blah, blah. And then the Steelers lost. That was the bigger surprise when it was all said and done.
Man, the Steelers just looked so bad in that game.
Yeah, we were all talking about them benching Ben.
Yeah.
It might be time to start thinking about it too.
Who's the backup?
Rudolph, Mason.
Yeah, he wasn't bad last year in relief of Ben. He was okay.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
He was pretty bad.
But they need to do something.
You could probably count on two hands the number of good plays he had over the entire course of his starting.
He drew a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, I know he started off really well, and then there was this late hit. I think it was against the Browns, and I think something happened to his brain after that because it was a late hit. I think he had a concussion. They like took his face mask off and pulled him off the field. This was not the beating it wasn't that one. It was the earlier game, and after that play. And when he came back, he was not the same. I don't know if there's some factor to that or not, but he looked okay there for a little bit. But then after that, it really felt like he fell apart, just completely collapsed. So,
yeah. Hey, I mean, it might be enough time now between kind of his bad play then and now to say, why not give him a shot if Ben is that much worse? Like I don't know. Ben looks like Drew Brees, looks like Peyton Manning looked like back in the day when they just went downhill and it went downhill fast.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It just looked really bad. I mean, what's his face? Snell had a good game running the ball, but at least they had a running game in there. But Cincinnati.
But did we have a running game? I felt like it was just eventually Bengals thought we were going to throw the whole time, so they were playing that and just a little more room for Snell to get 8-9 yards every now and then.
Hey,
yeah.
Is this like the second week in a row one of your guys' players has danced on the logo on the 50-yard line against the opponent and then got
they were
trounced?
talking about that with Schuster, I guess.
Didn't that happen twice now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Slow learner.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of that.
I said, quit fucking talking and play football. Jeez. Fucking guy.
Somebody said that Smith Schuster had more TikTok videos than catches this year.
Oh yeah, wouldn't be a surprise.
I don't care really what players do on their free time, but there's a trend. Obviously, the team's not doing well. You got blown up on Monday Night Football on that one catch that was a fumble. You need to get your head right with the game and what the main priorities are, and go back to the juju of like 2 or 3 years ago when you laid out perfect and you're standing over him. Like, that's what we need right now. We need to stop thinking about social media and likes and whatever and focus on the game. And it's not just Juju's fault. It feels like, I don't know. I think Ben is afraid of getting hit. I think he's afraid to step up in the pocket, maybe scramble a little bit.
That team doesn't look like a Steelers team when I think about a Steelers football team in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. They seem very, what's the word? They seem like they're trying to be a finesse team, and that's not Steeler football.
Yeah.
Well, they're not. To your point, Gumby, they're not. It's been an evolution over several years, and the closest I can think of is back when we started AB and we had Le'Veon Bell. We threw the ball a lot there too, but we also had Le'Veon Bell, which, they could turn around and hand the ball off to him, and he fit that scheme really well. But they've gotten so far away from that it makes it almost. I mean, it looks bad. It looks bad. It just looks bad on offense. It looks like last year's offense, and I'm not sure if maybe that's also scheme. Like, I'm not sure whether they should, seriously consider changing offensive coordinators. I think Ben has said he's going to play next year, but he needs to hang it up. Like, we need to get a quarterback that can learn and then take in and don't. Normally we would have extended his contract. The Steelers only give out new contracts 2 years in advance to quarterbacks. Every other player, they wait till the year before. Well, they didn't renew Ben's contract. So I think his plan is to play out next year and then retire. But we desperately need to find a quarterback. And, some names that have been thrown around are like Stafford. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know whether we can afford him or not, but also Carson Wentz.
I was just about to say Carson Wentz. Revival in Pennsylvania, the other side of the state. I love that idea. I really think it could be great for him.
Wentz would be a much better choice than Stafford, I would think.
Problem with that, though, guys, is that would mean we have $200 million quarterbacks on the roster. I don't know how we're going to be able to fit that on there. I just don't see it. Unless Ben took a massive pay cut.
You got to cut one of them.
Or
Ben
Ben
would have to
just
take a pay cut then.
Ben would have to fall off like this year. It's already started. We get into the playoffs. It's a terrible game. The decision's already made at that point. Ben, we got to move on. Sorry. Like you could say you're ready, but we're bringing in another quarterback to try and compete because there's a window. Like we got the defensive window. We need the offensive back. So is Wentz maybe going to be able to do that? Bring him in as soon as possible, learn a playbook. I'd love that.
I do too. And I don't think it's the skill positions that are the problem. It's getting the ball to them. I mean, we have no deep passing game at all. We have none. And it's even when Ben throws them deep, he's off target. He's short. He's long. He cannot hit a deep pass.
He missed Claypool wide open in the end zone.
I know. He missed Claypool earlier in the game when he threw into like triple coverage, where Claypool was just coming out of his break for a post. It was bad.
Claypool was open on that deep post you're talking about. Claypool was wide ass open on that.
Oh yeah, and back 3 years ago, Ben would have let it rip and just said, "Go get it, go chase it down." I think his arm is. Honestly, I was talking to Monty last night, and I think that the impact of throwing 45 or 50 times a game over the course of an entire season is now catching up with him. He's got dead arm, and that happens, right? I mean, in fact, you're going to throw it that much, your arm's going to get worn out. He's an old man.
There's no relief pitchers in football.
No, and they keep rolling him out there and throwing the ball 50 times with a guy whose arm is done. No shame. It's just sad. The thing that really makes it saddens me is that, you have all these really good memories of a player. You saw him in his prime, and he brought you, 2 championships and so many like iconic type plays for the franchise. And this is the end. This is what you see at the end. And it's like, man, maybe he should have just called it quits last year. And we would have, we'd sucked this year, and that's okay. But maybe we'd have drafted a quarterback or something and gotten to that point where we can next year perhaps compete, because we're going to get our asses kicked in the first round of the playoffs. I don't care who we play. We might play the Browns 2 weeks in a row, and they're going to kick the shit out of us twice in a row.
That's what I'm looking at right now. I wanted to put in some games I feel pretty good about, and then look at the Steelers' chances. And if we lose to Indy, we only have a 38% chance of winning the division because Cleveland, they're playing the Jets.
Ooh,
Come on, they got to win, right?
You guys got Indy next?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, Indy's a tough out.
But all we got to do is win.
Yeah.
We win the division. You can rest then. It doesn't matter. You'll take the next opponent. You get that week of rest. Can they please just step up and win a fucking game?
Indy's playing that hard-nosed football these days.
No.
Gus, you just brought up a good point, because if we'd have won against Cincinnati,
that was a division crunching scene.
Yeah, if we'd have won that game, we could have essentially had a 2-week bye.
Yep.
Because we really can't do anything else about our playoff positioning. They could have benched Ben for the Indianapolis game, Ben for the Cleveland game, all the major starters.
Yep.
Get healthy. You're getting your bye now, and it's going to be a 2-week bye. And then you roll into the playoffs with basically 3 weeks to prepare and a healthy roster.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't. And now we're looking at it as, if we beat Indianapolis, okay, we still get a bye because we can bench people against Cleveland.
Yeah.
But if we don't, then the bye's gone. But we're going to have to create our own bye, I guess.
We ain't going to get a bye.
If that makes sense. If we beat Indianapolis, we can bench everybody against Cleveland, and that's our bye.
Yeah. But we're not going to get that first round bye. That's
we're not talking about the actual bye.
We're talking about manufacturing.
Yeah, just sitting people. Yeah,
we let Cleveland basically go up against us with our backups, and we can still fight and see if we beat them. But we're not going to put JJ or TJ Watt out there. We're not going to put Minka Fitzpatrick out there. Maybe you leave Juju out there to teach him a lesson. I don't know.
Yeah, but you're right. All the guys that made the Pro Bowl, out. All the guys that didn't make the Pro Bowl, but we know are good, out.
Yep.
We're putting Ray McLeod starting again, along with whatever scrubs we get on the practice squad. Those guys you're gonna get some game action here. We'll just see what happens. Mason, here's your chance. Here's a start for this year.
Right.
I mean, but we got to beat Indianapolis, and I'm looking at it going, I don't see it.
They could lose.
Indianapolis.
They could lose these last 2 games. I don't.
Where are they playing at?
But
is that at Indy or is it at Pittsburgh?
It's in Pittsburgh.
It's in Pittsburgh.
That'll help.
Does it?
Yeah, but
hey, what's his name? for the quarterback for the Indy, he's not a bad weather quarterback.
No, you're probably right about that.
He loves him some
the other,
San Diego weather.
The other option, and this is really radical, okay, but think about this. We've already clinched a playoff spot. Why don't we say, you know what, we're resting for 3 weeks, starting with Indianapolis. We're conceding the division. We just want to get in the playoffs healthy, get everybody right, and then and start prepping now, saying, look, all right, we have 1 of 3 different opponents we'll play. We're going to start game planning now. We're going to work on the game plan for each one of those opponents and get as prepared as possible for the first week. That's
Where
I don't like the idea, but I mean, why not give Ben's arm a month off, you know?
So
Yeah,
if we
because,
did that, Steelers and Ravens would
might
be
not be
tied.
good,
We'd have
though.
the better like seeding over at least the Ravens, but the Ravens haven't even made the playoffs under certain scenarios here.
Hey, you guys got a former player who tells you why you can't do that, because you play to win the game.
You're right, but
Well,
I know, but I mean,
they didn't do that against Cincinnati, and that's a sin. Damn.
And that first half was bad.
Oh God, it was bad. It was awful.
That's the worst I've seen
them
look in a while.
They came out and got within a touchdown, you know, and I'm thinking, okay, you know, they can take control of this game and win it, but you know,
and then we go 4 and out.
Let them score again, you know.
Well, we get the ball back with 2 minutes left in the timeout. We go 4 and out. That was just, that's putrid. That's pathetic. Didn't even get a first down. I mean, come on, man, come on. I feel every bit as confident about winning a playoff game as Gumby, you and other Cowboys fans feel about winning the division and playing a playoff game. Honestly, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Please don't take it the wrong way.
Funny
that's
thing.
how I feel. We can't win a game.
We're in the race.
You know?
We're 1 game behind the football club.
Yeah, that's what I want to look at is the NFC East. It's so funny looking at they all still have this shot with certain conditions that might happen. I think Carolina might win this week against Washington. Alex Smith is still injured, right? I think Dwayne Haskins rolling out there. I just don't trust the Redskins or the football team under Haskins.
Yeah, if we beat Philadelphia and Washington loses, then we're tied for the lead with 1 week to go.
If you beat Philly, Philly's out, it looks like.
Yeah, Philly's out if we win. If we beat them.
If you lose, you're out. That's it. It's a playoff game right now.
Here's a funny thing. They showed a stat on this on ESPN the other day. In the NFC East, every team has been in first place and every team has been in last place this season. That's a true story. And nobody is eliminated as of right now.
Wow. Okay, so Eagles, Cowboys, that's a playoff game. I wonder what the I just want to open up a new tab. I don't want to screw this all up, but what is the projected line for that game?
I think the Eagles probably have a better shot at winning that. They seem to be more complete.
I think the Eagles are favored by 1.5 or something like that.
It's a pick 'em.
Oh, it's close.
That's
a pick 'em.
Yeah.
That's closer than I thought it would be, but that's the wagering.
Well, no. So this is 538. 538 uses algorithms and team history, all that kind of crap, and it's probably slightly different than what the betting lines are showing, but I really think it's a pick 'em game. So
I don't know.
Jalen Hurts has been a spark. I don't know how much of a factor they're putting into that, but a lot of the problems with the Eagles was Carson Wentz was bad.
Well, this 538 does like quarterback ratings, and they factor in like, you know, how good the quarterback is, you know, against others in the division and their backups and stuff. So they're saying right now Hurts is the best quarterback in this division.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. Ben DiNucci.
The Nooch.
Oh man.
Who was the other guy? I was trying to remember his name. Gilbert something or
Gilbert.
Garrett
What
Gilbert.
was his first name?
That was his last name.
Gilbert. That kid. Maybe Pittsburgh ought to, kick a 5th rounder over to the Cowboys. And,
I'm surprised they're putting him this low. He only really started 1 game, right?
Started 1 game.
Yeah, and he played pretty well. He did not embarrass himself.
I guess Andy Dalton's done better, but this seems like a pretty big gap for those 2 teams. I can't believe Ben is still considered second. I would even put Baker ahead of him. It's that bad right
And
now.
if we hadn't lost Dak Prescott, this would be the year for us. I swear.
Yeah.
If that defense would have gotten fixed.
They got the
never know.
defense fixed now. The defense is okay now. Last few games they've been good.
Yeah,
Man, I don't know how I feel about these.
Pittsburgh game.
These rankings feel weird. Like Drew Brees is not the best here in the South.
That defense that the Cowboys are trotting out currently, just a couple weeks ago, destroyed the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, blew them up. And that was mostly the defense that made that game happen. So, I don't know. The NFL is a weird place, man, because then the Pittsburgh offense, which I would think is way better than the Cowboys, I think the Pittsburgh defense, which I think is definitely better than the Cowboys, just got trashed by that same Bengals offense. This makes no sense.
Yeah. No, it's true. Do you think like part of that is like Randy Gregory and that is it Gallimore, I think is the rookie that they put in. I don't know if they made changes as far as like the starters go, but that rookie's pretty good. I don't know about the rest of them, but
so during the offseason, where they brought in a lot of veterans from some other teams, made some trades and some free agency signings, some guys that were on the downside of their career, but were good guys generally, but they all played like ass. And about a month ago, they cut most of them. I think Aldon Smith's the only one left of that group because he was actually playing really well, and put in the rookies and people they drafted and stuff. And it's like night and day. They're like 1,000 times better with these guys because they want to play, they want to win. They don't want to just collect that contract.
So the whole thing about they were complaining, like players were complaining about the defensive schemes and all that, may have been just garbage, and it's just an effort thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah, well,
because as soon as they cut those veterans, they cut several veterans that we traded for or got in free agency. They just straight up cut them. They didn't even trade them or nothing. They just, you guys are out. And defense improved dramatically with the backups, the people who were the backups previously.
Interesting.
And the scheme didn't change.
Okay.
And I mean, the only significant injury return was Van Der Esch came back from injury about that time, but that's just one dude. I mean, he's really good, but it's just one dude.
Is this is our upcoming draft board?
Yes, I updated it this morning.
I was interested to see what this looks like.
Oof.
Yeah, so obviously the yellows here. This is just they should have paid $60 during the year for making a trade involving their own draft picks. I've mentioned it to David. I mentioned it to Shoal. I trust that they're going to be in the league, so eventually they'll either get it to me or they'll pay the full dues eventually. But, anyway, yeah, here's the board. So,
kind of like all that gray out there.
Yeah, man, you ended up doing a lot in like a week and a half's worth of time for trades. I think it's funny. It's the first time I ever noticed it, but it does make sense. On the right side of a draft board, you're going to see a lot of color, right? It's the teams that were competing and whatever. And on the left, it's just mostly blank. You're the only exception because early on you were trying to go for it, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe you were swapping some picks, but.
So
it looks like
in 10th,
in the end,
apparently.
dropping down.
The Spuds will have an interesting first round. Number 1 overall, number 14. They can always move back a little bit and do some other stuff, but they'll have a pretty decent looking draft. I haven't even looked at keeper options yet, but yeah, so far everybody has a 3rd and 4th round available or 2nd in the first several picks until it gets to you, Dad. So you'll have a 2nd and a 4th, which you could use. Same with Shook. Hook'em's fine. Savages has a 3rd and 4th. Whip will be a little screwed. They're only going to have a 3rd, but that's something. And I'll have a 3rd and 4th. And Gumby, you'll have a 2nd and 4th. So this might be the first year everyone has a chance to basically have a full 2-player keeper option.
Yep.
Yeah.
I already picked mine.
So is it going to be Ridley?
Kittle.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
it's not
I
going
guess
to be Ridley.
Kittle. Yeah.
It's going to be. It's probably going to be Kittle and Diggs.
Okay.
Oh wow, Stephon Diggs, man, that's.
Hey,
Yeah,
if I don't have a 3rd round pick, can I still name a transition player?
Yeah, I think the whole idea is if you don't have a pick, it basically slots up to your next available round. So that would be your 2nd.
So a keeper would cost me a second round.
Yeah. So if he's good enough, it would make sense.
Yeah, well,
But you do have a fourth round pick though, Dad. So you can keep a transition player, and a franchise that'll cost you a second if you find one. But even if it's a second, even if your franchise player would have cost you a third, you can still keep him for your second. That is what Gus is saying. But you can keep two players. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So Jeff, you traded Michael Thomas, right? He went to Whip.
Correct.
All right, so Whip does not have Thomas to keep. He would have to trade him off, which I think is still a decent keeper option, depending on where he's at. Kittle will be good for you, Gumby, I would say, but it would have to be a second.
Hey, check this out. Even after missing most of the season, Kittle is still the number 20 tight end. And Diggs finished as the number 3 wide receiver.
Right.
Wow.
So
you're going to walk in as a powerhouse right off the bat, even without a first-round pick. Because you don't have a first-round pick, but you've got two guys that would go in the first and second round, and you still have a second-round pick. So you're good. You're set for next year.
So
that's amazing.
Oh, whoops, wrong one.
That's the plan.
I'm going to go ahead and assume a couple things here, but obviously y'all remember the trade with Mahomes. Jess has the option to take back Mahomes from our trade. I realize it sounds like a loan. I'm trying to say I paid a price for him, but I assume she's going to take him back for a second.
Right.
I thought we weren't going to allow that.
Well, I think it's moving forward.
That
type of trade is not happening.
You can't retroactively change trades that are like that, but you can make a rule that says going forward, no more. Everybody has to be named up front players. You know, none of that player to be named later stuff. Jeff.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, Kittle for a second makes sense. I get that. Jeff, you thinking Miles Sanders again?
No.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, I'll probably end up seeing if anybody would like him for a franchise player, but I don't think he's worth a third-round pick at this point. I just don't. I went in with the assumption that he's ready to be a thumping three down back, and although he played well at times, he was also very much a change of pace back to it. He wasn't the guy I thought he was going to be. But he's all right for like a running back 2. He'd be perfectly fine. But I was like, man, I should have McCaffrey and Miles Sanders. That's 2 number 1 backs, and I didn't. I ended up with basically 0. I ended up with 1 RB2 out of that whole deal.
Fantasy football probably can be rough sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you never really know. But I figured for a 4th-round pick, it's worth it, but it ended up working out too well.
Gumby, you have pretty good trade bait with Calvin Ridley here.
Yep, I'd like to trade him for anything. Anybody wants something, he's available.
I've got Kelsey for a second. Someone will love to have him, right? I mean, I could maybe talk to Smuffs, Jeff. You guys, I realize I can't keep him, but I don't normally ask for a lot pre-draft. Hell yeah, for Kelsey. Look at him late in the second round. That would be nice, right, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll just tell you right now, whatever trade offer you get for Kelsey, don't accept it until you talk to me because I'm interested for sure. And I mean, we can talk about the option, but I would love to have Kelsey with no question whatsoever.
Good to hear. I just want to make sure my reading is right on Kelsey is still like a valuable keeper even in the second.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean,
why would you not keep him? He's a keeper. He's keeper eligible. Why would you not keep him?
Because I gave the 2nd-round pickup to Jess.
Oh.
Yeah. So
for Mahomes.
Yes.
Which that's why it's not like he paid a slub price for it. He paid a 2nd-round pick for that guy.
Yep.
And now he goes back into the
loaner crap.
Unless he gets traded, he goes back into the draft pot.
Yes, that's my fear is the rest of the league could go ahead and say, oh, yeah, we don't want to trade with you. We'd rather, put him back in the pool. But to me, it just means he's going to be picked like right here, probably. He'll be picked 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. I'm sure he's available.
Gus, just, talk to me if you get an offer for him because I'm interested in Kelsey, okay? And if you're not getting any offers, I think you and I can talk about it anyhow. But you should be able to get max value for Kelsey without a doubt. And if people aren't willing to do that, then talk to me. I'll pay full price for him. I'm not gonna try and get him at a discount from you.
I appreciate it. I'm not trying to really push it right now, but I'm just saying Kelsey is obviously out there, and there's a reason why. So
sure.
Hey, Jeffro, you wanting to let one of those extra picks you got all over the place go for Ridley?
Ridley, I would have to keep him for a second. So if I got Kelsey,
wait, he would be a second. Never mind. No, you can't do that. He's not. That's the problem with trading Ridley is that he's going to cost you a second, whoever gets him.
But where Jeff is at,
which is
31st overall,
that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to give up the second to keep him, plus whatever you give up for the trade.
And that needs to be factored into it. But they need to. You could come to a compromise solution, I think, of some kind. Even if, do you have a legit transition? Yeah, you have Godwin, right? Or I'm sorry, Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Jeff, you have 2 second-round picks, right?
I do. Actually, I think I have 3.
You have, you have back-to-back second-round picks with and Savages. That's awesome.
Nice move.
Thanks.
Yeah. Here, I was just gonna. So you're saying Diggs probably tentatively, right?
I lean towards Diggs.
Whoa! What the fuck is that? Stephon. I think that's spelled wrong. Okay.
That was a fantastic pick, Gumby.
Thanks. I couldn't believe he was still there. I think I got him in the 5th round.
Yeah, and that was pretty nuts. I mean, you could look back and say the reason why is he's switching teams and, is there question marks about Josh Allen? But I think we all knew Josh Allen throws the deep ball pretty well. Should have known. Everybody should have known better. We should have saw that coming, but all right.
Well, and that's what I like Diggs over Ridley, because I could keep, I like Diggs over Ridley and Kittle obviously over Ridley because Matt Ryan's not getting any younger.
A lot of mouths to feed over there in Atlanta too. Whereas in Buffalo has a lot of targets as well, but Diggs is the clear-cut top dude. He's the top guy in that passing game.
He just always produces. He's solid.
Oh,
I don't think he had a bad game all season.
We can take a look at it real quick, but I don't remember. I have him in the Houston League, which incidentally in the Houston League, Gus and I are playing each other in the championship game. And congrats to you, Gus. And I wish you the best of luck this coming week.
That'll be fun.
It will be fun. So we're playing each other for a championship there, which is kind of cool. But I've got Diggs in that league, and I got him in like the 6th or 7th round. He's probably my keeper for next year. Same thing as you. I mean, I was like, I'll take Diggs. I think I already had my starters, but I was like, he's a good wide receiver 3. What's the upside? And nope. He's like every week he's my starter. He's the anchor of my receiving corps.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll take a look at Diggs real quick, Gus, and let's see if he had a bad game. I don't recall him having really a dog anywhere.
You're talking about just in general?
Yeah.
Pull up his game log.
Oh, no way. I guess this 10 points, but that's just twice it looks like all year. I'll take 10 points.
Yeah, 10 points is not bad.
Yeah, that's
an okay day.
Right.
He is currently the number 3, which that means you're behind Devontae Adams, and I forget who number 1 is, but maybe Tyreek Hill.
Probably Hill.
Probably Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I think he's more consistent than Hill.
For the price you paid, you'll take it. I mean, that is pennies on the dollar for the top 3 wide receivers.
Well, and I get to use him as a transition this coming year too. He doesn't have to cost me a 2nd or a 3rd. He's still just a 4th.
That is a huge value right there to get him for a 4th.
So I was.
Did you slide that over? I'd like to see my team. I don't even know if I have a keeper. I mean, I like Claypool, but I'm not going to do it for a 2nd-round pick, I don't think.
There we go.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and just put something in for mine. I think tentatively, I'm going to keep those 2 running backs, Dobbins and Cam Akers. But okay, so Nick Chubb, was he drafted?
He was first-round pick.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, there he is.
Okay. He was drafted in the 1st round?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
Tyler Lockett? No, he's probably a 2nd round.
Lockett
was not
Third
He's
round.
not a first, third. Yeah, he's keeper eligible.
Okay. Lockett's not a bad pick. I mean, he's not sexy, but dude, that guy is good.
He puts up the numbers.
What about Allen Robinson? Allen
You can
Robinson
have
was
a
third
big
as
game
well.
or you can have a mediocre games. That's a problem with him.
Allen Robinson was a third round pick as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So you could keep Robinson and Lockett and basically say, I'm good, right? At least wide receiver, I'm fine there. And then
you don't have a
third
third round.
Position.
So one would have to be a second, one would have to be a fourth.
Right.
I don't know if I would spend a second on any of those receivers or even on Claypool. But fourth, I mean, any of those guys you could use as a fourth, right, Jeff?
I think you have to declare a franchise before a transition, but I think maybe the rules do say that if you can't declare a franchise, you can declare a transition.
No, you're right. It has to be franchise with a transition. You can't just really have a transition.
Right. I think that's how it reads.
Dad, I'll just give you an idea, not trying to like steal the thunder or Jeff, the trade idea, but Travis Kelce is a great second round keeper for 23rd overall. And then fourth round, any of those guys, you'd be set up. So sorry, Jeff, just want to throw it out there to everyone, but including Dad.
Absolutely. I get it. You need to maximize value. I get you. You.
So something to think about, Dad.
No, but and that's pretty good. Yeah. Cause I'm not sure. I mean, you could make the case that, either Lockett or Robinson would be good for a franchise player, but a second round franchise player, that's a bit high. Although Lockett, go take a look at Lockett's numbers. I think
he's stumbled a lot lately. He started really well. It's just been bad the last 4 weeks.
I mean, he had that one huge game, but then after that, it was, one good game, a 21-point game, right?
Yeah.
He had a 53-pointer.
Right, that one game. So he's hot and cold,
Yeah, and if you took that 53-point game and reduced it down to like a 20-point game, he's probably not top 12 or top 16 even. He might be, the 18th best wide receiver. So again, is that worth a second? Probably not. Now, but Robinson, on the other hand, what did he finish up as? Number 7 or 8 or something?
9.
He was pretty consistent.
9.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's mid-range wide receiver 1 numbers. That's pretty good, and he's been consistent. So,
but aren't you kind of worried about who's throwing him the ball there?
Yeah, that is a problem too.
Point,
but he is their main receiver, so.
Yeah, he did well with Foles, and he did well with Trubisky at this point. I mean, I think if he had a good quarterback, he might even be better than that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure Chicago's going to be looking to upgrade quarterback in the next year or two.
I'd say the good thing is, Dad, you have options, and you might have to pay a second round if you can't find a good second round keeper, but that's not too bad. Let's see. So, Jeff, yeah, we kind of looked at your team, right?
Take a look at it real quick. I've got some speculative moves out there, and I was just reading the tea leaves trying to figure out what's going on. So just to give the reason why when I traded with you, Dad, to get Anthony McFarland and Benny Snell was I'm thinking about whether or not they're going to re-sign James Conner, and I don't know whether or not they really can. I mean, right now, if you look at it, you'd have to really ask the question: is he worth paying that kind of money to? And if they don't, then one of those two guys might be the starter in Pittsburgh. So I was thinking about it in terms of, well, if I could just stockpile the Pittsburgh running backs, see how things shake out in the offseason and training camp, I might stumble into having an RB1 for the Steelers. Now, what that's worth these days, I don't know. If it's throwing the ball 50 times a game, who knows? But if word out of camp is that they're getting back to their roots and all that sort of thing, then okay, for a 4th round pick, give me Benny Snell. We'll give it a try. He's not been bad.
Well, when you have as many picks as you have some wiggle room. You have some margin of error.
Yeah, exactly. So, maybe Benny Snell becomes the guy, or maybe Anthony McFarland, who I think long-term, if they're going to keep down this path, is the best running back for this offense. I think McFarland is. But maybe not. It's speculative. Maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe they re-sign Conner and it's all a moot point. But at the very least, it didn't cost me anything to take a chance on it.
You've got a fallback plan with Sanders. That's what I keep thinking. Like Sanders would only be a 3rd round for you. That's not that bad. If you ended up not doing the 2nd round keepers with other decent players, right?
Well, then it'd be a 4th round, right?
Noah Fant might even be an interesting one. Like he's tight end 9. I think he's only going to get better. He's had some pretty good games, but I don't know for a tight end like that. Maybe not yet.
I don't think I would keep a tight end unless it's a Kelsey or a Kittle or a Darren Waller.
I think there's exactly 2 tight ends in the league that are worth keepers on.
Where was Darren Waller?
Waller's okay.
In the draft.
Waller's really good. I mean, he got a. I
He's
think
a 4th rounder.
For Savages. Go take a look at his numbers.
Where is Savages?
I think he was a little bit better than okay though, Gumby. When you look at his
he was good, no doubt. But is he keeper good?
Number 2 overall.
Yeah.
Average 16.8 a game. I think he is keeper good.
I think he's keeper good.
Yeah, so 3rd or 4th round for sure.
So there's exactly 3 tight ends.
Savages have
3, yeah.
Don't they?
Savages currently has them, but I think he's missing a pick. Yeah, he's missing a 2nd, so that's fine. He can keep a 3rd or 4th. I think that'd be kind of interesting.
Which that might be. I don't know if he'd be interested in trading him off, but that would be a good backup plan for me to go after him. I'd be okay with Darren Waller. Just a full disclosure in the USFS. David is interested in CeeDee Lamb and trading him off of my team. And I think David listened to this podcast, so this may be some, heads up. But, after the season, I've got CeeDee Lamb on a cheap contract, so he's interested in him. And I'm thinking about making that move, even though I'll have to get a developmental wide receiver to fill in for him. But he's got Darren Waller also on a cheap contract. And I was like, I'm thinking about it. If he wants CeeDee Lamb, the negotiation starts with Darren Waller, and that's it. I mean, I'm not going to trade him for anything less than that.
Is Josh Allen a keeper?
Yeah, he would definitely be a keeper.
No, but I mean, was he drafted after the 2nd round?
Absolutely. He was 6th round pick this year.
Oh, okay.
Good. That was a good pickup right there.
Yeah, I'm just throwing a suggestion, or like what maybe I would do is not even touching anybody else's team is Josh Allen and Waller. That's not that
That's
bad.
who I'd take. That's who I'd keep in that.
That's pretty good.
That group.
I would do that. I would absolutely do that.
Because it'd be a 3rd and a 4th, however you slice it.
I'm gonna find Hookham's team real quick because he
normally always has some guys.
He had Eckler as a keeper for a 4th, so he could be a 3rd.
A Bear is who you should keep.
Probably.
That kid can play.
And honestly, he throws him in just right here, and that's pretty.
He's also got CeeDee Lamb available too.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. Gumby, do you take a chance on CeeDee Lamb becoming like a top 12 wide receiver?
I wouldn't. When Dak Prescott's back, Lamb gets a lot better.
Yeah, so I mean, is it worth taking the chance, or do you think you can get him in the 5th?
I don't know. What about Cooper Kupp there? What did he finish up for the season?
Yeah, 19th.
That's not. That's okay. That's good, but not. I don't think that's keeper good.
Also, I think he kept him in the 3rd. Yeah, so he would have to keep him for the 2nd.
Ooh.
That's not worth it.
That's
definitely not worth that.
I think he would move up Eckler because Eckler's been really good as of late again, and Herbert's probably just a nice addition as the next Aaron Rodgers. Eckler, hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, last I guess it was 2 weeks ago, 23.6, but he's part of the offense. He's a receiving back as well. I mean, look at 4, 9, 4, 11. That's pretty interesting.
And that game where he only got 4 points against Tampa Bay, he got hurt in that game. So that wasn't like a bad production thing. That's when he like ripped his groin to pieces.
Right.
So
that's why there's all the blank, 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 blank.
Yeah, drop that game out altogether and look at the guy and you're saying, well, he can put up 17, 18, 20 points a game for you. So I think that's probably worth it. Herbert, though, what did Herbert ended up finishing up as?
9th, but he didn't start right off the bat. But look at some of these games, like 65, 55, 50. He's up there. It's a chance you might want to take. So that
the only time he did bad was against New England, and that's Belichick killing rookie quarterbacks because that's what Belichick does.
Good point.
Well, and he's young, and he could be on your team. He could be Aaron Rodgers, right? You can keep him for the rest of his career in the fantasy league.
Yeah, which reminds me,
Gumby, yeah, you're right.
Gumby, you could do the same thing. You could trade Rodgers again because he had another great year.
I can tell you this: if Herbert was on my team, I would put him in as a keeper. because having stability at the quarterback, long-term stability like that at the quarterback is priceless in this league.
I'm going to find Shamers just real quick. Where was Shamers? Because Shamers.
Well, no, well, he drafted Dak in the first round, right? So
Yeah.
So he's got Mostert right off the bat. Raheem Mostert. That's a question mark.
This is the guy I'm looking at, Justin Jefferson.
That's not a bad keeper.
That's a keeper right there.
Yeah. And if he doesn't really have anything else and all he spends is a third round, oh, you know what? This is his team right here, Chris Godwin. He had him as a 4th round keeper. I don't know. Maybe you go with him again and throw Jefferson and you have your 2 wide receivers.
What did
Third,
Godwin
fourth
finish up as?
Yeah, where did Godwin finish? That's what I was going to ask too.
He had a down year, but last
Oh,
year
they
he was
missed.
great.
They didn't bring in AB to not throw the ball to him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I
a good
mean?
point.
Yeah, so maybe you have to walk away from Godwin, but if you picked up Jefferson in the meantime, that's pretty great. So,
Do you consider keeping Mostert, because Mostert was pretty effective when he wasn't hurt?
yeah, so
The
that's
last 4 weeks have been bad though.
here's what I'd say about Mostert, only because he kept him as a 3rd already. He'd have to be a 2nd.
Yeah.
Is that worth it?
Yeah.
I think
not for
if
a
I was
guy
him,
coming off injury.
I'd keep Jefferson and call it a day.
Yeah, I agree. I think that makes the most
what about-
sense.
Nah, yeah, everything else looks speculative. Like Henry Ruggs, I don't. That's really throwing a dart.
You could always do a
Does
Matt
he
Ryan thing again. Matt Ryan's always that quarterback. You're like, do I keep him? Do I just try to draft him again? Do I want to stay the fuck away because he's gonna like throw a 10-point game in there? I don't know, man.
No, I think the only for sure thing is Jefferson, and that's a good keeper.
Yeah.
It's a good start to the draft at least.
Yeah, you get the 8th best receiver for a 3rd round pick. That's pretty good.
So
yeah, that's not bad at all.
So Ramones, AJ Brown, that looks pretty good. But I think that might be it. Maybe Russell Wilson, but
Where did he get Wilson at?
let's see. Ramones was right here. Okay, James Conner was in the 1st. I think this is 2nd round. AJ Brown.
Yeah, so he could have him.
No, he can't have AJ Brown. That's what I'm saying. He was drafted in the 2nd. Russell Wilson was
So
a 4th.
You could keep Chris Carson and Russell Wilson. Carson's had a pretty good year too, right?
Chris Carson went to hook him.
Oh, did he trade him off?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Actually, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't think he has keepers. Maybe Wilson. That's about it.
How did Wilson finish up?
He's kind of fallen off here lately. Wilson has.
He has. Great start. Great start. But
the last few games.
Mm-hmm. Really, since week 10. He hasn't gone over 41 points since then. And that was the Jets.
But if you're gonna keep, a Bear at, what was he, 9th best? Why would you just say I'm not gonna keep?
I think there's more upside. I think there's more upside to a Bear.
I mean, if he wants somebody, it would only be a 3rd round. It's worth saying why not.
It's also, I mean, there may be more
but if he was
upside,
drafted in
also,
if he was drafted in the 4th, doesn't he have to become a franchise player?
That's what I'm putting him here as a 3rd. Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry.
Just about A-Bear Gumby, just a counter is that, there may be more upside for him, but there's also more downside. What Russell Wilson's bringing to the table. And this year, he was having a career year up until whatever happened to the team happened. So there's something there. I would consider it at least, right?
Yeah. It doesn't look like many other options. M team looks tough. Okay, you're the Cowboy fan, Gumby. Is Pollard like a big piece of next year's offense?
I don't know.
You have no idea? Because he looked great last week.
He did look great last week, but he doesn't look, obviously those points are low when Zeke's playing because he's Zeke's backup technically, but
yeah, and Zeke's long
I think
term.
it kind of depends on how things shake out for Zeke. I think Pollard is a really good back. I think Pollard is a really good back, but I don't know that he's a starting back in the NFL. He's not an every down back. And if you take out the one long run he had the other day, it was an average day at running back. He had one really long run that was really good. And he had a touchdown reception. He had several receptions that helped, but I don't think he's keeper worthy.
Do you think he's the kind of player who could get one of those big runs once a game, though?
Maybe.
What about Gallup? I know it says questionable there now, but where was he at as far as wide receivers? Oh, 45th. Okay.
He may not be on the team next year.
Yeah.
This might be his last year with Cowboys too, right?
I don't know how we're going to keep all those receivers.
I don't think.
I don't know.
I don't think Monty has really any keeper options. The only one that comes to mind is Pollard. If it's DJ Moore maybe. It would be a third round keeper for him.
Is Stafford going to be there next year?
Would you keep Stafford for a third round?
No. Is Stafford in relationship to DJ Moore?
Well, no, Stafford's Detroit.
They don't play on the same team.
I was thinking they were the same team for some reason.
You're thinking Galladay, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, Galladay. Mike Williams, I didn't really think his name popped up too much. Dalton Schultz, no.
No way. Rodrigo Blankenship, maybe him. He's a good kicker.
The only NFL player who wears glasses, which is just.
Is that true?
It disrupts the normal flow of things, I think, in
most
the
NFL.
Of them the natural order is disrupted.
They usually get the surgery or they get the contacts. It's rare to see him actually wearing glasses on the field.
Yeah, that is strange. Maybe he's got some kind of eye condition where he can't get the surgery, but I don't know what that would be.
I don't know. LASIK is the greatest thing ever invented, if you ask me.
Well, you're telling me. Pretty awesome.
That was literally the best thing I've ever done for myself, I think.
So how long did it take you after the surgery for you to stop reaching for your glasses on the nightstand every morning?
I still do sometimes.
Really?
Still do it.
It took me about a year. Every morning I'd reach for I don't need those anymore.
I tell you, the coolest thing though, when they pull you up off the table, right, and they had the clock, right, so the room's kind of dark, and they got the clock over there. They say, "Hey, what time is it?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I could see the clock." Holy shit. And then they put the things on you and you're blind for 3 days.
Yeah. They give you the Valium and say, all right, go sleep it off.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It was well worth it. I dig it.
Worth every penny. I haven't halfway talked insurance into paying for it.
Oh, nice.
I'm looking at Smuffs real quick. I don't think he has anybody worth keeping. I mean, I know he kept Melvin Gordon, but that was a third rounder, I think, last year. Yeah, no, it was second.
Right, so for speculative purposes, let's assume that OBJ is not with Cleveland anymore next year. Is Landry or Higgins worth keeping for the potential upside?
Where did Landry finish in rank?
30th.
30th.
Which is way worse than what I would have thought he'd finish, but okay.
Oh, that's kind of surprising. He's really
does have Landry as a keeper option.
All right. What about Higgins? He had to be a free agent, but Higgins has picked it up. Yeah. So forget the early part of the year. Since last 3 weeks,
I'll say this: if Higgins or Landry finishes strong and then does well in the playoffs, if they get in, yeah, keeper option for sure. But for now, I don't even know if you take the chance.
Mayfield looks like he can spread it around.
Yeah.
What about Travis Fulgham's kind of had tailed off a little bit too, I think.
Gross. No way. This guy, he had some good games, but it's just, look at that.
He's got blanks.
Not awful. What happened to that guy, man? I was really rooting for him.
Carson Wentz happened to that guy.
Dad, I'm gonna mute you. So I don't see anybody for Smuffs. Really.
No.
And then the only other team that I think that's left is Touch Me Down. He's got some options. So.
Robert Woods?
Is Smith-Schuster eligible for him?
Probably not. Where was Touch Me Down?
He was early in the draft.
Yeah, he was a second rounder.
Oh,
and Derrick Henry's a first, but yeah.
Woods
David
and
Montgomery?
Fournette.
Where was David Montgomery? That's a good
Oh,
keeper.
wow, yeah.
That's
Oh,
not
yeah.
bad.
What's
Yeah, he
Montgomery's?
finished strong.
Montgomery is finishing real strong.
Yeah.
What do you end up as? Oh, wow, 6. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, yes.
Look at these
Great
last 4
pick. That's a
weeks.
great
This
keeper.
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
winning fantasy football championship games right here.
Yeah. That's a turnaround for
Yeah.
that guy. 'Cause I
No,
remember when I had him, they were running that dumbass wide receiver instead of him. And I'm thinking, you got this fucking rookie running back, play him. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's a keeper for sure, I would think.
I would say for sure Montgomery, and then I just don't know if he would take a chance on maybe Robert Woods. You could always throw him in there.
Well, if you could
You
ever
could.
get Marquise Brown to learn how to catch, he'd be pretty good too.
Yeah.
That guy's open. Marquise Brown, I swear he is open on every play, and he's got hands of stone.
And then he complains about not getting the ball thrown to him every time. Incidentally, is Heath a closet Chicago Bears fan? Because he's got the quarterback, the running back, and Cordarrelle Patterson.
He says he's a
quarter of
Chiefs
his
fan,
roster.
right? But yeah, maybe you're right.
No, I'm just messing with him. If he's listening, I'm just messing with him.
So
He's
I
also
mean,
got 3 Titans.
I think this is basically the best keepers so far for all the teams. And Jeff, I mean, it's just tough with you. We're not sure yet. Same with you, Dad, and M-Team and Smuffs. I just don't see very good keeper options. So, oh, you know what? Whip, I didn't actually finish his out because he has some really good 4th round keepers. I think he could go maybe Jonathan Taylor.
Is Michael Thomas still a keeper? Really?
No, he can't go Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, he would be a 2nd round if he wanted to keep him.
How did he finish up? What was his position rank?
Well, he was hurt most of the year. That's his problem.
Well, let's see his game log. How did he do when he was
So
playing?
when he played, they say 12-point average.
That's
So
not.
he-
I don't think that's a keeper.
Scroll down real quick. Half
Not
of his games, he was over, 15 points. Well, just under half. He got hurt in week 1, but in week 1 he wasn't going to do much anyhow. But the other games he played, yeah, I mean he had over 15 points. That's pretty good, but it was an injury riddled year for him.
Mhm.
I don't know,
And,
man.
and
I'd
Taysom
think about
Hill, that didn't help him any.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
who's he going to have next year?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Good question.
Will Breeze still be around?
Probably not.
They win the Super Bowl, he will.
Breeze did not look great his first time back.
The more I look
What
at
was-
this, does he have a 2nd round pick, Whip? No, he doesn't. He has a 3rd. He can't even keep.
He can't keep
whatchamacallit?
Thomas.
I don't think he has a keeper. So Michael Thomas, yeah, that's not an option.
That's going back into the pot.
It's trade bait if somebody wants to take the chance on him.
Does he have a 3rd round?
You think he?
I think that's all he has is a 3rd round. And I don't
Could
think he
he-
has
he's
anyone
got a-
worth keeping.
If he's got a
Kyler
3rd,
Murray?
No,
Could he keep
well,
Kyler
yeah,
Murray again?
I think he could because Kyler Murray was.
No. he
Oh,
was
I take that
franchise.
back.
when did he get Jonathan Taylor?
2nd round.
2nd.
Oh, that won't work.
Well, if he doesn't have a 2nd, he can't keep Kyler Murray either because he was a keeper last year, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
So
actually,
he
Whip
doesn't
has
really
no
have any
keepers.
keepers.
What about Jonathan Taylor?
We just said
He's a
2nd round.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot of early round picks, so a lot of those guys he just ain't gonna be able to keep them.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be a tough year for Whip, but not desperately so. We saw 2 teams that didn't have a whole lot of picks going in this year that did really well. So yeah.
Oh, you know what? Where's Shook? Shook has some options. I think he's got James Robinson.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I
He's
think
gonna
I
have
got to
Kamara
slot him
Robinson.
in.
Does he have Kamara? He's a keeper for Kamara, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely still a keeper.
Where did he get Metcalf?
Shook. Where is Shook? 3rd round?
Third
Third.
round. So that's a keeper option.
Would you keep Metcalf over James Robinson?
I don't know.
It's a valid question. I mean, would you?
Where did
I'd rather
Metcalf finished up
Robinson.
pretty high? Where did Metcalf finish up?
6th.
6. That's pretty good.
He's really good.
Where did he draft Robinson?
It was a free
I
agent
traded
pickup, I
it to
think.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, so he could keep both.
Yeah, but he has Kamara
Yeah.
too.
It fits really in with his draft position too, because if he has 2 running backs going in, and both those running backs are, presumably going to be really good, and he's picking 11th overall, that's prime territory to take a wide receiver 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the
I'd
draft
keep
would just
Robinson
fall
and
right
Kamara.
into his lap.
I'd keep Robinson, Kamara, and start targeting wide receivers.
Yeah, first 2 rounds, wide receiver, and now you're set. I mean,
Yeah.
or quarterback wide receiver or whatever, or tight end. That doesn't matter. That's a great start to the draft.
He's got a
anything.
really good strong start next year based on that.
And he trade Metcalf away, because that's a guy who somebody else might be really interested in keeping.
He could. I mean, it's the same with me having Kelsey, and I want to trade him away for something. So it's keeper rights.
He could swing Metcalf to let's see, where's M team? Where do they pick in the draft?
Was that
7?
Yeah, 7th.
Yeah, so he could theoretically he could say, look, I'll trade DK Metcalf to M team, or whoever takes over M team, for a swap in the first and kick in a later round pick. And now he's looking at Kamara, Robinson, and then Tyreek Hill, or freaking Devontae Adams. Probably not. He probably will get picked before them, but we never know. Who's the other 3rd wide receiver that
Ridley.
Diggs is going to be a keeper.
Ridley's
Ridley,
up there.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
dude, that's right off the bat.
If you didn't need running backs and you have a late 1st round pick, Ridley's probably going to be a great option for you this year.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got pieces to work with as well as just a good start of keepers. Does he have anybody else he could trade off? I don't think so. Not really.
I think
Evans.
He has Mark
Evans.
Andrews. He'd be a 3rd round keeper as a tight end, and he had some decent games. But I don't think I'd take the chance on him.
I don't like a lot of receivers at Baltimore, because they like to run their quarterback around. They play like a college style offense.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be a lot of volume work for anybody catching the ball there.
Okay, I'll throw this out there. Baker has had some really good games as of late, and he had, I guess, 1 in week 7. But just imagine he finishes strong, gets in the playoffs, has a good playoff run. Maybe a keeper.
He'll get drafted, but nah.
Somebody might pay for him.
Y'all are not imagining the scenario where they go on a Joe Flacco playoff run, and it's like he's the star now. He's the next Lamar Jackson again. So he has him
Super Bowl MVP.
Exactly. Anything can happen.
He started Brady over Mayfield this last week.
Well, he had got knocked out in the 1st round of the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
But Brady wouldn't have been a bad start.
Brady still did good. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I like Schitt's position. As it stands right now, I think he's in a really good spot for next year.
Yeah, because he could easily.
I can.
Wow, he's in a really good spot.
He could flip that DK Metcalf and get some really good value out of it, either boosting his draft position in early rounds. He doesn't have to get a 1st round pick outright for him, just a swap and move up into the top, top 8, top 6. And all of a sudden he's looking at, a top 3 running back, a top 7 running back, and a top 3 wide receiver walking into the draft. That's amazing.
I know. Yeah. Good for you, Shook.
Yeah, that's
surprising us every year.
He's in a good spot.
The only other one I just added was Antonio Gibson as a possible keeper for Jockstrap, because he had a good start.
Yeah. I think he's going to think about it.
How did he only get 1.4 points against Pitt? Did he get hurt?
Yes.
Yeah, he got hurt in the first drive of the game.
Okay. I was going to say, because when we saw him in Dallas last, that dude was beast. He was just practically unstoppable.
I think I could have had either of those guys available for keeping next year, Robinson and Gibson. But, oh well, shit happens. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad combo to start out with, too. You could do the same thing and just go after wide receivers.
Yeah, I screwed that up pretty bad.
I'm going to save this real quick. Obviously, it's not a final or anything, but this is a, possible what we're looking at next year kind of thing. The only other thing I wanted to show you guys, I don't know if y'all can see it, but
Oh, cool.
the All-Star game that I've suggested to both teams, and they'll finalize rosters, but this is kind of what I was looking at. As I only had time to get the 2 people that were repeat players from last year, at least in the same spot.
Who picked these players?
So I did it to help Mike and to help David Stout, just to give them an idea of like, hey, this is a potential lineup maybe you could go with. But in the end, they get final call. They can change it up however they want.
Okay,
and,
I see.
And I looked at the projections for each team, just using what it is in ESPN. And the Alamo team here is projected for 158, and the Goliad team would be 156.4.
Wow.
Close.
Wow.
That's going to be nice.
That's cool.
Deshaun Watson was the best option at quarterback there?
So
Why not Mahomes?
So the Goliad team doesn't have Mahomes. The Alamo squad had Josh Allen, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. They had pretty much all the best quarterback options. So for the Goliad side, I was just trying to find the best players in every team. And for Scabs, he had 3 that I thought were okay. Deshaun Watson, Keenan Allen, and the kicker, Daniel Carlson. There were some other quarterbacks out there like Ryan Tannehill for Bubba
Russell
Gump.
Wilson was available from Ramones.
Yes, but so that's the thing is like if you play around with the rosters and you throw in like that, so for Scabs you'd have to either put in the kicker or you're gonna have to put in Keenan Allen. And that's not bad, but like Jeff, you had a tough one. You had Miles Sanders, Noah Fant, and Jason Sanders. So in the end, I was like, I think this might be best for y'all, but.
Yeah, because remember, every team has to contribute 1 player, like Major League Baseball. So for the 2 crappiest teams, Napalm and Puppies, take the kicker.
Yeah.
So everything else.
Gumby had all the best options, I think. He had.
Young Ho was a good choice, though. That dude can kick.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's a perfectly fine choice for the All-Star team.
Absolutely.
I think y'all's wide receivers.
Second, right?
Yeah, y'all's wide receivers are gonna kick our ass, Jefferson and Landry. But
that's not even the best wide receivers in our division, in our conference.
Yeah, I know. Kelsey should beat that matchup, I would think.
Yes.
And the flex will be a good one. Eckler versus Chubb. I mean, we just got to hope Eckler's healthy enough. I think he is.
I'll take Chubb.
Of course you would.
So it's going to come down to how much more points Travis Kelce will score than TJ Hawkinson.
I'm thinking at least double what Hawkinson gets.
It might be. He ain't joking.
Yeah. But then again, Stout could change the lineup for Alamo. Mike could change it for Goliad. I figure by Thursday or Friday, I need to know for sure because we have Christmas Day games. So.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll keep everyone posted on the page on what's going on, where we're at. So.
Did we close up the GMF voting? I think we were missing like 4 people 4 votes for it. Are we just closing it up? I think Gumby won it. I could be wrong.
Gumby, from what I last checked, he did win. Yes, he was up 5 votes to 4 to 3. So congratulations, Gumby.
Thanks.
Your name will go in the Constitution for the 2020 GMF.
Well, I appreciate that. That's a cool award because that means y'all thought pretty highly of what I did. So that's a pretty cool award. Thanks.
Oh yeah, it was a good season,
man.
Yeah. So yeah, other than that, I mean, I've got pretty much everything updated. It's nice working from home to be able to do all this.
This was a fun season. I think it featured the greatest game in the history of the league with that championship, the conference championship game.
Yes.
Between me and Whip. That was the best game I've ever seen in fantasy football. I thought I was going to die of a heart attack during that game.
You were saved by a fluke play, Gumby. That's how crazy it was.
By a safety as time expired on the Monday night game.
Saved by a safety.
And the good thing is that, I know we wanted, I was pulling for Gus because he's my brother, but I think I picked you. Incidentally, we didn't go through the picks to see who ended up best, but anyhow, I'm glad you won the whole thing, because after that conference championship game, to lose the Super Duper Bowl would have been a huge letdown.
Oh man,
winning it was like
the whole week.
I was just
like, I have to finish this. If I don't, that means nothing. We're gonna finish this out. That whole thing with Mike means nothing.
Do we know?
Yeah.
Do we know if we've lost owners coming up? Do we know for sure anything about that? Yeah,
I've got some discussions to make about that, but I think we're going to lose one. Pretty much, that's a guarantee. We're losing one. We have some others that I hope don't leave, but including the one who is leaving. But I understand. I get it. And when something stops being fun, just don't do it anymore. I would be the same way if I was not enjoying something, but I felt like I had to do it. I'd want to quit too. I'd be like, I just don't want to do it anymore. So I don't blame them for it. Now, the other ones are question marks. I don't know, but I hope everybody else sticks around. But what's the backlog look like? I guess that's my big question is, do we still have the queue? I mean, I know we got Lisa, and she should be, if she's not number one, she should be there. I mean, I think. Who else do we have that's lined up and ready to go?
We've got Casey.
You might ask Brandon too.
Brandon Key? Do you know if he's interested?
He always has been. He just never was around when the spot
That would
opened.
be awesome. I would love that. Brandon's my boy. I love Brandon. I'd love to have him in the league, and we'd have two other sets of brothers in the league. That would be cool.
He would probably co-manage his team with Shane.
That would be, dude, great. We'd have brains. Brandon and Shane, they share the same brain. That'd be great.
That's funny that people still say that. People still say that. It's so funny.
It's true though. I mean, it's Brandon and Shane, their brain, That would be so badass, because I think about the two. I think about Brandon and I think about Shane, because we don't really talk about it much anymore. I saw Brandon about 5 years ago. He came into Dallas-Fort Worth and he stayed over at Monty's house. And this is while I was living with Monty, while I was looking for a place and everything like that. And Brandon came in. It was great catching up with him. And, I was like, dude, it's really good to see him again. And then we chat every now and then, just a couple instant messages here and there. But I haven't talked to Shane in years, man. And I'd love to having those two in would be great. I personally would be like, yes, bring them in. That would be a lot of fun.
He's asked a few times.
Well, if there's an opening, there's an opening. But Lisa, is Lisa going to take over a team if we lose one? Was she going to do that?
I
thought that was the idea. Yeah.
I think Lisa would have first in the queue, I would think.
Can I ask you a quick question for you guys? I know this isn't the whole league, but it's a subset of the league. So if the idea is we lose, let's say just 2 teams, and we go to 14. I keep saying this. I feel like a 14-team league is maybe the best possible league you can have, because you can kind of get rid of the divisions and all that and just have a straight 13-game season, easy tiebreakers, easy to know for sure like who wins. Would that take precedence over replacing teams, or what do you think?
I like
replace teams.
Okay, so it's just we're at 16. If you can replace, you replace it, which I think this type of league, we're always going to have people wanting to join.
I think 16 as well, just only because this will be our 3rd year of it. Let's give it another year. That's 3 years and see what happens. And then after that, if it really looks like we're having, some dropout and we don't have people, we can drop to 14.
Okay.
I mean,
right now with the divisions,
is harder to play in. That's for sure.
It is.
Oh yeah.
You got to hit on those picks.
Dad, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I agree with the 16 teams. We've got divisions that are more or less like set. We've got rivalries within the divisions. We've got rivalries interconference. I think we should just stay where we are, replace teams as needed.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I just, if it seems like that's the majority feeling or whatever, let's just do that. I wasn't sure. So, and I know we have a backlog.
Good. I love this league. I love the history of it and the trophy, the rings. We keep records on things. That's so cool. I love that. I love to bring in some new people too, because I share that type of like excitement for them to join this type of a league, where there is a lot of history and there's a lot of money on the line too. I think you're getting $800 this year. That's pretty darn good money, man.
Not too bad.
And you've had a lot of fun getting it, and you earned it. So
this was absolutely the most fun I've had in a season in the fantasy football league by far.
Awesome.
Mostly because of Mike and that playoff race. I had an 11 win streak and was on pins and needles because Mike was right behind me. I was never more than a game ahead of Mike, and in the end, I was a game behind him.
I was telling Serena last night that I was like, Gumby won the championship and he had to go the hard way. And she was like, what do you mean? I said, well, he won 11 games, lost one game all year, and all season he had to win 11 games. That he could not afford to drop a single game anywhere down the road. And he still made the playoffs and he had to battle through the first round, the wild card round, just to make it to the championship. Anyway, I was talking to her about it, and stuff like that. Like, I feel that same level of excitement, and I'm really happy for you, because I know you must have had a great time doing that, and to be a part of that, even just looking in, just being a part of the league and observing that, I thought was great too.
That was a lot of fun.
My team,
like I said,
but I enjoyed it.
It was a good year.
That was in large part to just Mike being so damned good this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And guess what? We shouldn't discount your team either and the work you did either, because going into that championship game, you had a shot at it too. There's no doubt. It wasn't like Gumby was going to roll on you or anything like that.
I know Gumby was a little scared. He was worried a little bit,
especially after Saturday. 28 points from Aaron Rodgers against the worst pass defense in the league, and I'm like,
yeah. You're staring down Mahomes on the other side, right?
Mahomes is over there, and then he's got McCaffrey's understudy, and McCaffrey's not playing, and I'm like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
It was a good year. It was a good championship for sure. So
I was telling Serena that, or actually, no, I was talking with Monty, and I said, I haven't talked with Gus about the game yet, but I'm sure he was happy because he had mentioned several times, and you haven't won a playoff game since 2008. So I was talking with Monty, and I said, I think if I had to speak for Gus, he's really just happy to be in this championship game, because it's been, over a decade before he's gotten even close to it. And now here he is. So win or lose, I think he was just happy to be able to be there. Of course, winning is much better than losing, but you're
absolutely right. That's how I felt.
Any of us would have been happy to be in there. I'm telling you, even getting an ass kicking, at least you make it to the championship game, Yeah.
Well, there's certain teams in this league like Jess and Hookem, Ross, they expect a win now because they get there a lot. So if she got there again, she would have been disappointed if she didn't win again. And Hookem, I would think the same thing. But it was a good year. I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad the NFL was able to make something happen, because
True.
Yeah, remember all that fear about, ending it 4 weeks into the season and shit?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we made it through it, baby.
Yes, we did. They did too.
So I'm sure we need to wrap this up, but how did we do on our picks and all that sort of thing? Do you have the total and see who was the best prognosticator?
I got last week's total. Jeff, you and Gumby, you picked all three winners. So you're Ballzilla, Whip, and Touch Me Down. Dad and I went 2-1. We each picked Dynasty. So, and Jess went 0-1 because she only picked the Dynasty. So, as far as overall record, I don't know. I'll see if I kept a running tally all year. I think I did, and I'll post that.
Okay, if this is the end of this season's podcast, we should schedule, or at least think about putting one out like a week before the draft to preview that, and then from there, take
I would think
next level.
Yeah, the same thing as this year. A week before the draft, maybe once keepers are kept, or even maybe just slightly before that, because it's like, okay, we think we know the keepers now, and then we could do right before the draft as well. Who knows? There's a lot of time between now and then, so
Absolutely.
A lot of the news will be on the Facebook page.
I hate waiting 9 months.
All right,
catch y'all later.
Gumby.
Thanks for the
see ya.
season.
Later.
Yep.
Hey,
Bye.
Gus,
All right.
we might
Congrats,
also
man.
see you, Gumby. We might also consider putting up just a real quick podcast together if we have new owners and kind of do an introduction. It doesn't have to be a terribly long one, but just, introduce the people that are in the league and the rivalries and some of the things that make the league, significant for us, like why we love it so much so that they get a sense for it. That might not be a bad thing to do either. But
Yeah, that's a good idea. And that can easily be done for sure. So.
All right, cool.
Okay.
All right, fellas. Thanks again. It was a good year. Jeff, good luck in the Hufel Championship. That's going to be fun too.
Good luck to both of you guys.
You too. I
haven't
hope we
seen
have a good
anything on
game.
it, but all right. Bye, y'all.
Bye, Dad.
Bye, Dad.
Yeah.
See you
Good
guys.
luck, Jeff. See ya.
You too.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.